Are you considering buying a motorhome or upgrading your current motorhome at Marquis Leisure? Well, before you do, just wait, because I've got a story to tell you about the service at Marquis Leisure, which is absolutely ridiculous, to be fair. And also later in the video, I'm going to cover a little known fact, really. That is, did you know that if you've bought a motorhome, not just from Marquis, but from anywhere, and it's not fit for purpose, which most of them are not because the build quality is shocking, did you know you can get a full refund or an exchange even up to 12 months after you've bought it? Well, you can. And I'm going to explain how later in the video. But first, I've got a story, because over the last week, I've had some abysmal service from Marquis, and I thought I needed to share it because it's a little bit of a joke, and it's a bully tactic used by big dealerships, big companies to try and bully people into submission, and it ain't happening with me. So to go back to the beginning of the story, we start at the NEC Arena, where I was told by a few different people that the VB air suspension upgrade, the semi-air on the back, and the sort of good coil spring things at the front make a massive difference. I don't want to go for full air for leveling because I've just had some legs installed, which I'll explain in a later video, but I do need to upgrade the ride quality of this van because it's a Gigato, and it's not a patch on what the Grand California was to drive. It's a little bit floaty and a little bit wobbly. So anyway, I went to Marquis in Berkeley, and I spoke to Nick, who's head of their service. Nice guy, looked after us, been very helpful. And I said, Nick, can you put us on to whoever deals with the sort of upgraded suspension and stuff, because I want to get like the coil springs and the semi-air. So he did. And I got an email on around about the 15th of November by someone called. He says, right, here are the prices. So for the semi-air, the prices were £1,770. He said the coil springs for the front are £585. But he did also recommend the FSD strut kit with the coil springs, that with a combined cost of £1,220. And because I'm wanting to actually upgrade the van as much as I can and make it just the best quality you can make it, I says, let's go for the FSD struts, because, yeah, sounds good. If it's what you recommend, I'll go for that. Quick interruption for a quick advert. We've got our Ultimate Scottish Road Trip Travel Guide and our Outer Hebrides Travel Guides, both currently on half price, 50% off both of these. If you're looking for something a little bit different, we've got the NC500 improved, a better version of the NC500. We've got the very best island in Scotland, the Isle of Arran, and our very unique Borderlands 320 travel guides, all available at the link in the description. There is no discount codes required for these two. Just jump on the website, buy them, and the discount is automatically applied. Get them in early so that you can get them for Christmas. Give someone the gift of an adventure and some memories. There's no better gift you could give than a road trip. I mean, I'd rather someone pay for the diesel, but a book is better than now, isn't it? So the following day, emails us again saying that the parts are to be paid for upfront and labour after the work has been done, which is fair enough. So he confirms the pricing. Now, this is the first time already, within 1 day of the original prices, that they change straight away. So the semi-air is now £1,900. Yesterday, it was £1,770, and the FSD strut and coil string comfort is not yesterday's price of £1,220. It is now £1,470, which is, it's already changed in 1 day. And he does tell us that the total I need to pay up front to get the kit ordered is £1,810. I think fair enough, let's pay it. So I did. I paid the deposit, £1,810. I might add that the receipt that I received on is like a PDF. The photo doesn't even have anything on the receipt. It just says what I've paid. It doesn't say what I've paid for. It doesn't break anything down. It just tells us how much I paid and a little picture of the card receipt. Now else. Now it's 2 days later, it's the 21st of November, and he gets back in touch, and this is what he says, and I'll read it out. I have to apologise, as it seems I quoted you for comfort coil springs only, whereas you asked for FSD strut plus coil springs. Now, on the quote and on the email chain, it actually states FSD struts plus the coil springs, so I wasn't really sure what he was talking about. So, like I said, on the receipt, there's nothing on there. But on the email chain, it says on every email, since the original one he recommended it, FSD strut and coil springs. So anyway, what he does say is that the prices have changed again, 3 times now. So the price for the FSD strut and coil spring is now £2,400, including VAT. So there's a difference of £930 from the price he quoted us 2 days ago and the price that I paid the deposit on. I emailed him with these prices on. I says, well, look, the first email you said this, the second email you said this, and now you're saying that. Like, what is going on? What he says is, look, I'm sorry, I'll let you have £50 off, so I'll let you only pay £879 instead of £930 for my mistake and my very vague price. And that's not specifically what he said. The wording was slightly different. But essentially what he's saying is, I'll give you a £50 discount because of the mistakes. And I'm like, well, really? I didn't reply from there. I just thought, right, we'll leave it as it is for now. I'm not 100% sure whether I still want to go ahead with it now. And then on the 22nd of November, he gets back in touch again. Now, again, I'm going to have to read this from my phone because I need to quote exactly what he said. So, I'm sincerely sorry for this confusion. The prices have been confirmed by my contact at VB, and she's confirmed that there is a difference in price that I've quoted, and the price difference is £520 in the FSD strut kit and coil spring. Now, that doesn't sound right. Yesterday, you'd said 930 quid. Now 520 quid. But anyway, he says, we've now received the invoice, so the full confirmation of this, so there's no emails to follow. The other option is just go ahead without it and blah, blah, blah. This is entirely your choice. Let us know by 10 in the morning so I can cancel your kit incoming from VB and order only the comfort springs if that's what you want. Then there's no difference in price. I'll wait for your email. I've emailed VB to keep the shipment on hold now until we get a clear response from yourself. Basically, that's that. So I responded with, what is this 520 quid? Like, is that alongside the 930? Or is that instead of the 930? I don't really understand what's going on at this point. So what I've done is I contacted VB and I sent them the full email chain saying, look, can you shed any light on this? Because my head's pickled. I don't know, like, is it 520 quid more now? Is it 930 quid more? Are they added together and it's like £1,000 and a bit now? What is happening and where is this confusion coming from? VB basically confirmed, they said, look, she rang us, she was lovely. She says, I can see why you're confused. We were baffled trying to read through this email chain as well. I'll contact them and I'll get it to clarify it for you. So he sends basically quite a snotty email back saying, oh, VB have contacted us, you're wanting some clarity, here it is. And they sent us like two prices, one with and one without. And I thought, I don't know. After sitting on it for a couple of hours, I thought, you know what, I've had my leveling legs installed somewhere else, which I'm going to make a video about further down the line. So I thought, I'll just cancel it with them and I'll speak to Headley's Tow Bar where I got the legs fitted, see if they can get it, and if they can, I'll just order it through them. I've got much more confidence in them for installing it and all the rest of it. So I emailed saying, hi, can you arrange for a refund for the money paid? I'm going to get this installed elsewhere. Thanks. Now, this morning, I got a response to that email saying, good morning, Mr. Sloan. There's an S on, but never mind. Unfortunately, this cannot be refunded as it's a special parts order and the semi-air parts are already delivered. We can go ahead with the semi-air and you can get the FSD struts and coil springs fitted elsewhere. The utter cheek of it. We can go ahead with the semi-air and you can do the other bit elsewhere. Who on earth does he think he is telling me after all of this what's going to happen? So that got me back up a little bit. So I just replied, no thanks, just refund the order. I'm sure VB will allow you to return them. For clarity, I've CC'd them into this email chain. Your service has been disgusting and this is just the icing on the cake. Now, I wasn't really expecting the next reply, if I'm honest. Now, at this point, presumably, then went to a manager and thought, what we're going to do, I've got the air bit and we don't want to send it back. And someone says, just tell him he has to do it. So this is the next reply. And again, I'm reading, this is verbatim. Good morning, Mr. Sloan. There's an S, but at least he's consistent and he misses the S off that, unlike his prices. It is company policy, as I stated in an email before you went ahead with the order, that parts are special order. Therefore, once ordered, can't be refunded. A quick one I noticed while I was editing this, his first email, he actually said, can be refunded, and then he resent the email with a correction changing can to can't. I wondered why I got the same email twice. And to back up his claim, he's put in a quote from a previous email, and here it is. Just as a note, payment is required upfront for the parts as they are special order parts from VB, and then on fitting day it's only labour to pay. Let me hear back from VB and I'll let you know. I had to read that a few times because I'm like, it doesn't actually, in the bit that you've quoted to tell us that you can't get a refund, it doesn't even say there's no refunds. So I was like, right, fair enough. So, I mean, legally, Marquis haven't got any leg to stand on because obviously I checked all of that stuff. But so under UK law, it says the business must clearly inform customers about any significant terms and conditions, including non-refundable policies, before any purchase is made. And there wasn't any. I checked and double checked the full email chain just to make sure I hadn't missed it, because I thought, you know what, I bet he slid it in somewhere and I didn't even see it. But I can confirm there's not a point on any of these emails where he's actually said anything other than what he quoted. So at this point, I don't have a refund. It's still the same day. It's the 25th still. I don't have any confirmation from Marquis that I'm going to get one. I haven't heard anything. I haven't had any responses just yet. Now, these are the bully tactics that big manufacturers, big suppliers, big companies use to try and sort of strong arm you into buying something and sticking with something and telling you that you can't do anything about it when you can. You really can. I thought, I'm just going to check the reviews, see what people are like with Marquis, and it seems to be very contrasting. There's either 5-star, 1-star, and now in between them, but it kind of shows the contrast between how people feel when they've bought motorhomes specifically from there. And you have some sympathy, and I have previously, and you think, well, it's not their fault really. It's not them that manufacture the motorhomes. And then I've done a little bit of digging, and it turns out it is. So Marquis is owned by Auto Sleepers, and they are owned by the Trigano Group. And the Trigano Group also own Chasson, Benamar, Mobile Veta, Roller Team, as well as Auto Sleeper. So this motorhome that I've bought from them is a disgrace. It just is. The build quality is absolutely shocking. For a van that ranges in price from about 80 to 90,000 pound new, it's an absolute disgrace. The build quality, it's terrible. It looks nice, don't get us wrong, but either this van is a Friday afternoon van and they were just wanting to get away early because it's built, honestly, you wouldn't believe some of the issues. If you haven't seen them, go back and watch some of the previous videos about this van. It's been terrible. But I didn't really want to push that on Marquis, because you think, well, it isn't them that build the van, but that's how they get around it. They just hide between all these layers of other things and say, well, it's not us. Well, it is. It is you. Now, if you've bought a motorhome and you've had issues like I have, I was prepared to have issues with this van. I knew it was going to be the case. The build quality on new vans, unfortunately, is shocking. It just is. And repairing stuff is just going to get fixed with the same little flimsy parts that they were built with in the first place. So I was prepared to have to pay out my own pocket to get other bits fixed elsewhere. And that's what I've been doing. Just chipping away at all the little niggly bits, and there's many, many niggly bits, and there's many, many huge flaws as well. And I was prepared for that. But if you weren't, and if you're not, and loads of people are not going to be, people might not be in that financial position where they can even do that. A motorhome is a big expense. Did you know that if your motorhome is faulty, or if it's unfit for purpose, and you feel it is, you can get refunds in exchange? So I'm going to explain that in a little bit more detail, because there is a few things that you need to consider. Now again, I'm going to have to look at my phone for some of this, because I want to make sure I don't make any mistakes on this. You need to define whether your van is unfit for purpose. Now there's a couple of different scenarios. If it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, for example, if it breaks down frequently, the heating or water system isn't working, that kind of thing, that's classed as unfit for purpose. If it doesn't meet your specific needs that you were told about, so if they tell you that it's an off-grade camper van and it's just not, that's one. If it fails to meet reasonable expectations. Now, this is the one I would say that most vans fall under. Persistent leaks, mechanical issues, other major faults that make it unusable as a motorhome. There's a couple of different things, so you have to act quickly. First off, in the first 30 days, you are entitled to a full refund. It's UK law. Don't delay, get it done straight away, and don't take any of their word as gospel. Do it yourself. This is the law. So first off, take photos and videos of the problems. Make sure you keep any records of any breakdowns or repairs. Note any promises made by the seller, especially if they claim that the motorhome would meet specific needs and it doesn't. Now, contact the seller, Marquis, whoever it is, write to them explaining the issue and state what you want. You tell them what you want. Don't send it to them and then they'll say, we'll fix it. If that's not going to work for you and you're not confident in the van, then you know the build quality, because at the end of the day, if the build quality is not good on one, chances are it's not going to be good on the next one. Tell them you want a refund if that's what you want. If they then come back to you and say, no, we're not doing that, escalate it. Did you know that there is an ombudsman for cars, vans and all that? It's called the Motor Ombudsman. Contact them, seek some legal advice, and you will, at that point, presumably, sort of strong arm them in a little bit, considering, is it worth this fight when we know that the van isn't fit for purpose in the first place? Because a lot of the time they just push back because they don't want to have to deal with anything. Within 30 days you are entitled to a full refund. 30 days to 6 months the seller must repair or replace the motorhome, and after 6 months the problem you've got then is you need to prove that the fault existed when you bought it. Document all of that. Make sure on photographs you've got the EXIF data, so it'll tell you when the photograph was taken, if it's on a phone and all the rest of it. Just document a lot. make sure you've got it, because that's where they'll catch it out, and they'll just strong arm you. They're a big company. They think they can do whatever they want, and they can't, unfortunately. So be wary of who you're buying off. Know your rights, be confident with what you're saying, and make sure at the end of the day, if you're not happy with something, then just accept it because they tell you that's what you got to do. I was just in the process of editing the video when I received an email back from Graham, who presumably is maybe a manager or something. There's nothing on his signature, as well as not long after. So good afternoon, Mr. Sloans. Spelt wrong, but a different way now. And thank you for your email. Your comments are duly noted. Please contact with the card details on which you paid, and he will issue a full refund on this occasion. And then a couple of minutes later, hello, Mr. Sloan. Again, spelt wrong, but this time from please advise which times you are available for our receptionist to call and process the refund, even though he called when he wanted the money, and presumably his tail's between his legs a little bit. So as it stands, don't take any shit from them. At the end of the day, when they're in the wrong, they're in the wrong. You know your rights, do a bit of research, and don't let them bully you or strong arm you into doing something that they want you to do because they've made a mistake. Thanks for watching, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.